Good evening. Good evening. Happy Thursday. And welcome to the Impact Podcast. Um, I'm assuming you noticed, but it is not early in the afternoon. It is 7 p.m. So we mentioned to you guys on the last podcast episode that we were going to have an amazing guest, which we will introduce shortly. And then Dr. Obiama Martin will be joining us momentarily. But we also wanted to change the time too because we did get some feedback in regards to some people not being able to connect during that time. So we're doing a little test because we are flexible. So we're excited to be with you this evening. Um, Definitely interact with us because we want to hear your thoughts as well. And so today we are talking about it is not black and white, it is green. What is that about? So we started having this conversation, the three of us, Mr. Maris, Dr. Obiama, and myself, about diversity. And I would assume that diversity and equity is not new to you either. We see it on the news, we see it on TV, even in your schools, education programs. I would assume it's a conversation because we are not most times walking into a program and it is just one race, one culture, one religion, one economic background. We are diverse, and that's the truth of the matter. So we figured it was time to talk about it. Hello, Rosanna. We are excited to bring this topic. It was interesting. It was like, oh my goodness, this might be a hot topic, and we want that because the Impact Podcast has real conversations, right, for real people, and we provide real resources. So I'll get the conversation started, and then I'll follow up from there, introduce our guest, and she will give her insight and be ready because Miss Damaris brings the fire wherever she goes. Okay, so
Thank
um,
you.
diversity and equity. It's interesting. It's interesting because when I thought about this, I really believe that I am in the beginning of my journey with digging deeper into diversity and equity. So we've spoken previous episodes about my programs, why, and our mission, which is serving children, families, and the community. But in our initial program, our first program, thinking back and even now, it is not that diverse. And I believe that because the culture was very similar to my own, it felt organic. It felt like we were just doing our life's work. You guys met Miss Linda on one of the previous episodes as well, where we continued the work that she had done for 40 years. And we were just doing what we do. But when we ended up realizing that we were servicing families, it wasn't about culture at that point, it was more so equity, but we were serving families. But at the same time, the higher quality that we became, we weren't as sustainable as a business, right? Because this conversation ties in diversity, equity, and business, because that's what we are. We're business owners, first and foremost, right? So it was at a point where we only had subsidy funding, and for anyone who is not familiar, subsidy funding for us in childcare, the state, families can apply for funding that will help pay for their childcare, either in full or in part. But a lot of times, the amount of money that programs are paid through subsidy does not fully cover your costs, especially when you're a high quality program. You have master degree teachers, you have educated and experienced staff. It does not cover the cost. So at that point, we wouldn't be sustainable, but for so long. So we began to diversify our funding sources, and we connected with the Head Start program, which is an amazing, comprehensive program. But it is geared towards at-risk children and families, and a lot of times that could be low income, different circumstances where you're 100% poverty level. So that was a great program for us 1 to 2 years. But at that point, our families began to make more money, so they weren't qualifying for this program. So we needed to diversify even more. So then we got pre-K counts, which now you can have a higher income level, 300% poverty. Head Start for a family of four, you can make up to about $18,000. Yes, do the math, about 18,000. But pre-K counts now you can make about 50,000 plus, like 55,000.
That's what the updated guidelines. The
That's the
updated
new ones. Yes, the newer ones. Now that's
the newer ones. Yep.
Yes. So, so now we're again, equity in on that level is really talking about allowing all children to have access to high quality programming. Really, it's not saying only these children can benefit from it, but it being a level playing field. And that's what we mean by equity. So we got the opportunity to expand that program, and we went into a new community. So we were like, awesome. We are proven. We have a great program. We're just going to take it and we're going to move it to another community. That was not the case, right? This community actually was really diverse. And now the learning began because we were like, okay, so now we have children and families enrolling who do not speak English. We have families of different religions. We have families of many economic backgrounds. We are truly diverse. And now the work begins because it is not just about language. It is not just about finances. We literally need to be students of our community because, again, that's what our mission is. So this is when the work began for me, and it is still being unpacked. And this is when I could say I'm starting to learn about it. But we could get deeper into that, but I don't want to take up too much time. I'm going to add in Dr. Obiama Martin. Hello.
I'm trying to get this whole situation. Okay, I think I don't know. I'm trying to get it together here.
There we go. I just gave some background so you came right on time because we are about to introduce our guest, Dr. Ms. Damaris. And so, Ms. Damaris, can you tell us who you are? And then after you give us a little bit about you, if you could tell us diversity and equity, what does that mean to you?
Oh, wow. Hi, everyone. I'm Damaris Alvarado Rodriguez. I'm the Executive Director and CEO of Children's Playhouse Early Learning Center, and that's in South Philadelphia, and as well as the Director and CEO of Innovative Education Consulting Services. So what does diversity mean to me? Diversity, I've been working on diversified, equitable practices inclusion since I moved to Philadelphia. I moved to Philadelphia in 2000. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born in Puerto Rico, and raised in Brooklyn, New York. When I came to South Philadelphia, we purchased a house. My husband and I, very brave. We just wanted to make an investment. We chose a house. South Philadelphia was. And we had it closed down for a year, and we decided to move right after the 9/11 because we felt as though we wanted to provide our children with a safer environment, somewhere where we were very traumatized after the 9/11. So moving into South Philadelphia was a culture shock. That's really when I first experienced racism, I want to say. We weren't welcomed. We were one of the first minority families that moved in. We've had a lot of ugly, situations. And I said, well, let's make a change. We're going to change this, right? I can't come from Brooklyn partying with everybody to come to here, and you guys are going to learn how to love me. You don't have to really, honestly, they didn't have to love me, but they had to respect me. And that's what it was. And I reminded a lot of my neighbors, if you don't want to live around people that look like me, then maybe you should move places where people that look like me can't live. And that's it, And so I always did that. I was thought that way, but at the same token, I always knew that people are afraid of change, things that they don't understand, right? And so my mission was to open up a child care center. And that was it. I wanted to find families that had children, biracial children, Hispanic children, because I knew they were out there, African American children, my Black and brown children. I wanted everybody in my center. So I was able to do that. Opened up my family child care center, started off with 6 children, jumped to 12, and I was like, oh, maybe I need to move from here. Went to a group center, to a center base, and then I always had a huge waiting list. I thank God for that. And I was very intentional about making sure that I was that the environment that I had for the children was not only high in quality but also diverse and inclusive, a place where they felt welcome, right? So I started my mission, right? My vision of Children's Playhouse. I retired my old child care center, which at that point was Cookies Daycare Center, and we moved into an area where it's very low. It was very low income at that point, and a lot of trauma, trauma where children and families really needed a lot of services. So we did a spin on Children's Playhouse and decided to add a social work component to that. So today, we service 278 children. We do have Head Start. We have all income levels. Each year I have a goal, and I think I reached a lot of them. And one of the major goals that I had was to provide free preschool programming. So today I reached 200 of those preschool slots, and they're free. They're free to my community. Out of 200 slots, 200 are free. So I'm really excited about that I was able to provide that. Also with income levels, obviously race and gender and same sex, and all these different avenues of how I felt that I want to create an environment where everyone felt a part of. So that was really important for me within my centers to provide also that holistic approach to that. We have a lot of work to do, right? So I've been doing this for 19 years. I won the Bronze Award for diversity in Pennsylvania. And a question that they asked me was, how do you feel about this award? And I was like, thank you. Because I should be awarded for something that needs to be done. But I'm happy, right? I was really happy about getting this award, getting recognition. But inside of me, I'm like, it's been 19 years, it's my baby, and I continue to work on this mission, because there's a lot more work that needs to be done, and it is what it is. So as a Latina business person, I always go through a lot as well, right? Sometimes even in my own businesses, I'll have a family comes in and say, can I speak to your boss? And when I'm like, I am the boss, and they're like, no, I need to speak to the owner. And I'm like, I ain't the owner, and getting that, and that's not something that happens very, it's very common, right? It happens a lot. And, I'm like, what do you mean you want to speak to? There's nobody higher than you. I just go through a lot of things as a business owner as well. So I've been, this year, I'm really excited. We opened up a DEI advisory committee within our center. And it is actually based off of staff and also families. And they help guide this work, right? So creating toolkits, making sure that they hold me accountable, creating policies, whistleblower policies, diversity policies, approved books, having uncomfortable conversations with children and families about LGBTQ plus communities. So I'm really excited about this work and the future of this work, and continue to making some positive impacts in our communities.
Awesome. So our focus tonight is around, it's not black or white, it is green. So let's get into that, because the three of us have talked offline about this, and with all of the things that's going on in the media, with all of the things that's going on politically, and with the shootings and the killings and the trauma and the trafficking, and how that kind of spills over to the work that we do. At the end of the day, all of it is a distraction, because the person that is really in control of all of this is the person with the purse. So at any given time, think about it from this perspective. At any given time, with the 1% population, the uber wealthy, they really could drop a couple of millions and not miss it, and make some changes in our community, especially as it relates to education. But what happens is, no, we are all fighting for the same dollar instead of the dollar being shared amongst us. So when we look at how money is generated, how money is dispersed, how money is populated, the people that have the money, millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, whoever they may be, they have a vision and say, I want to, for an example, service the Latino community, right? But the people on the board who's responsible for the distribution, well, they have another agenda of who they want to have the money, and it's not Latinos. So the documentation says, I want this said population to have the money, but the people that are responsible for distributing the money already know who they want the money to go to. So then what they do is they have us all pinning against each other, fighting for the same dollar, instead of saying, you get 5 cents, you get 5 cents, you get 5 cents.
And let's go out there and do this work, right? That you're absolutely right. We go through this, you already know how I feel. Instead of, I'm going to quote Obiama here, let's play in the sandbox together. We need a unified system. We definitely need a unified system. And if I come to the table and say, hey, I see that my Latinx community needs this, and I would like to provide this, and I need some funding for this. It doesn't mean that I'm not, being sensitive to the needs of the Black and Brown community. It just means that the Latinx community needs this, right? I know my roots. I know where I come from, right? So I'm trying to really, and there's been times that I feel as though, what I bring to the table is kind of shoved to the side, and they say, well, maybe at that point, then it becomes a conversation of maybe we need to do things together. And I'm like, we can, but first we need to provide this, let's say it again, to the Latin community, while you've been providing to the African American community this. And I now need this, and it doesn't mean that I'm not being sensitive to the needs of the African American community. It just means that the Latinx community needs this, right? And then eventually we can definitely unite, right? We can definitely, because at the end of the day, the goal is for us to be unified, right? We're all child care centers. We all work with children. We should be unified. But we can't get that unity the way that we see it, right? That end outcome of that unity, if we are not providing these services to meet each person holistically, right? Right? And equitably, right? We're talking about equitable. So the systems that are in place right now are not, they don't work. They don't work, and it's not because, I don't really know if it's because they want it. It's just old dinosaur systems. After COVID, I think that everybody should really start revising and really digging deep, which I know there's a lot of work being done now, right? I have seen some progress, right? I have definitely seen some progress, and I'm excited. I'm excited, and I'm going to keep advocating. So,
yeah, and I definitely think this is the time. Right, COVID, the pandemic was, a moment that was difficult for everyone. However, I think it took the veil off of so many different things, right? So many, it now gave us opportunity to really ask for what it is that we need, ask for, advocate, fight for, take, whatever you want to call it. I feel like this literally is the moment that we could say, okay, this is the need of my community. But that takes some work as well. And we're going to have to raise voices to say this is exactly what it is. And I know us in our community, including myself, have played nice so long because we're just a nice we're just a nice community. Early childhood education, we care for children and families. We're nice, right? But yeah, I definitely think I definitely think the work that is starting to be done is have a lot more grit and just raising the voices, including myself, because it's like, wait a minute, it is time. It is not enough. It does a lot of times feel like it's this dangling, and we take the coins, right? It's like, okay, I'll take that, but it's never really enough, and it's never really addressing the actual needs. And this is where, I just feel like it is the space and opportunity for us to get in there, take it, get it done. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Damaris, one of the things that you was just sharing about, African community, Latino community, when it comes to funding, right? And this is why I say it's not really black or white, right? It really is green. It really is green, because we've seen, if you think about it, we've seen Latinos with money who didn't do right by Latinos. We've seen African Americans with money who didn't do right by African Americans. We see, Caucasians. We see Asians. So it's not a black or white thing. It really isn't. It's a green thing, and it's he or she who holds the purse is the one that makes the decisions. And so if that person wants Latino or Asian or whoever to get it, that's who's going to get it, period. What we have to advocate for in terms of equality is that if there's only $1, how can you make sure that African Americans get 5 cents, Latino get 5 cents, Asians get 5 cents, Indians get 5 cents? Like, that's the way in which we need to really approach this, because as long as we keep on saying, well, I didn't get mine. No, if it was $1 and you only had $1 and everybody applied for that dollar and you want to be equitable, just make sure everybody get 5 cents. If they qualify for the 5 cents. If they qualify for the 5 cents, make sure they get the 5 cents. And if they don't qualify, let's talk about equity. If they don't qualify, then use the 5 cents to help them to qualify. How about that?
Yeah. It's the access, right?
It's the access. Yeah. It's the opportunity. Like, because all things have not been equal. If we don't know about it, how can we apply? And if we do know about it, but we're not sure in terms of the administration of it or the paperwork or the whatever, because that's the other thing. There are so many programs that don't apply for stuff because they're overwhelmed by the paperwork or they're intimidated by the paperwork.
Yeah, and I think, and now a lot of that too, and that's a great point in regards to equity, even not talking about children and families, but providers and business owners, and the ability. I think back to, if I wasn't there to help, even I have to add Damaris back in. If I wasn't there to help my mom, she would have, right? She would not have survived all of the transitions into, what it takes to be a business owner today. So and there's other providers who have been in this work for over 30 years who I'm still, helping because they're not able to navigate the system. So therefore, a lot of times I'm having to send out the resources, like, make sure you apply for this grant. Did you hear about this? Or you need help. You need help on the internet. They don't even necessarily know how to apply in that way. So then how are we really providing access? So to say that the money is there, but if everyone can't access it, then those providers, those business owners lose out, the children lose out, the families, the community, they don't have true access to it. Just to say, this money is put into this bucket. And it really makes me think how much money is really available that we also don't know about. Like, are we tapped into all of the resources to say, oh, okay, I need to apply for that or apply for that? Like, you have to know somebody that knows somebody who say, listen, did you know this is available? Because it's someone I'm talking to. I'm getting some technical assistance with the organization, and the conversations that we have are so next level. And It's a white gentleman, and I'm like, really, and I'm like, really, pro bono? I was like, oh, had no idea though, had no idea. But when these conversations start being had with people who have access
An opportunity
and
and
opportunity
resources.
and resource, absolutely, absolutely. Our friend Damaris is having a rough time out because she keeps dropping off. She keeps dropping off, but oh no, they had a really bad storm. She's out. Yeah, she's out of the state, and they have a really bad storm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, let me see if she can connect.
So what happens is, to your point about these providers, you can see that, and this is what's disheartening, because they still provide great quality service.
Yes, yes,
Right.
really right.
But they're just not in a position to navigate the nuances of the technology.
Yes.
So we leave them behind.
Yes, yeah.
We leave, Auntie Ann and Grandma Sue, and do we like, and then what happened to those children? What happened to those families? Welcome back. Welcome back.
But thank you so much. I had to get on my phone. We have a storm, a really bad storm right here. So I think that we're just losing internet connection. I'm sorry, guys.
And we see you so much better. I wasn't
so much better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on my phone. I figured
This is good. Okay.
Okay, great. So we were talking about helping people. What
And the last comment, definitely, I agree with you. Obiama was saying too, what happens to those providers who can't have access because of they're just not aware or don't have the ability, right? Technology, whatever the case, or even smaller programs like our family providers who sometimes, even if they can't, what if they can't make the meetings or they can't?
Most of the time,
right.
And they lose opportunities to see stuff, right? Some of them are not technology, savvy. They really don't know to follow, Facebook or whatever. There's so many gaps within the system in providing everyone resources. I bump into a lot of providers, and first thing they tell me is like, oh, you need an accountant. I'm like, yes, you need an accountant. And, when I ask them, well, who does your taxes at the end of the day and your payroll? And they're like, I don't pay myself. Okay, let's talk about this. We need to talk about this because the first thing you need to do is pay yourself. And, just things like that, into like just even giving them those opportunities, right, to learn, those opportunities to take what's out there. Yeah, I have a huge heart. I've been helping people forever, and I'm okay with that. I love seeing growth. I love seeing other people grow. I don't care if you're next door to me. I work with the Cambodian Association. They're literally a block away from me. When they went and we have PHL pre-K slots, they got PHL pre-K slots. And they came to me and they were like, we've never done preschool. I said, well, today you're on Learn a Day. Let's do it. So we that's the way you build community. That's just the way. There's money out here for everyone. I don't see them as competition. I don't see anyone in competition, Leah, because what you do in your program, you do in your program. That's your style. Your families love you for who you are and what your program offers. And the same to me, within our organization. And I just think everybody can play together, right? Everybody doesn't need to be this big competition. We could just be one unified place and just imagine what we can do and the impacts we can make if we thought that way, right? Thought like we're not competition, right? Matter of fact, we're allies, and let's go advocate. Let's go to Harrisburg together. Let's shut down. Let's do what we have to do. And I feel as though that is what's needed. That's what's lacked of. And of course, it's because of that money. It's because of the lack of access to the monies that are out there. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think her name is Rosanna. She said, we are hitting it on the head.
Yes, yes. We came here to
Yes.
speak our truths.
Yeah. Crystal said it's not competition, it's just provide more opportunities for more families to get quality care for their children.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and really that is what it's about. And as advocates, how do we change the mindset, right? Because we have to change the mindset so that there is inclusion, and also so that other people don't see us as a threat. Right. So how can we get to the place where we're one sound, one bound, this really nice symphony? Because that's really what we want. We want to be a symphony for children and families.
And staff. And staff.
And staff. Right.
And staff. Let's
not the community as a whole. The community as a whole. And to your point, being able to create a situation where there are allies, the community actually becomes stronger. Absolutely. When we do that, right? Absolutely. Because it's like, oh, you know what? I don't have it, but you can go right down the street and they'll take care of you. Oh, let me call them. I'm actually full, but let me call them and let me see if they got a space for you. Like that's what it really should look like. You know what I mean? And then
I got something better for you. How about I don't have, staff. Right. Everyone's right now experiencing staffing shortages. How about, just the simple fact of me calling another program and saying, do you need this staff member? Because I'm full. I don't have a space for them, and not seeing these doors close. Right. Because if we work together, a lot of programs will remain open. A lot of children will be serviced. Talking about that is also important as well, because I feel like, yes, everyone's struggling through staffing shortages and everything, but even that became a competition now, right? We went to an event a few weeks ago. I took all my staff, and the other providers were trying to solicit my staff at an event that we were advocating together. And, I said, I'm not worried about it. My staff leave, they leave, it is what it is. But I just think that's just not ethical. And I think that, people don't think, and I get how desperate you are, but however, if you would have contacted me, I would have gave you some people. Because that's who I am. That's who I am. Anyone that contacts me and say, I need you, trust me, I'm going to be there to the best of my possibility. I'm going to give you whatever it is that you need to succeed. But I think people forget that. I mean, people don't have a handle on that because the system is set up for us to feel that way, to be competing with each other.
You're absolutely right. And I remember the stories from like my mom telling me about how all of the providers in the community, and they were all like family and group, and they would literally work together. But they would and that camaraderie showed when we celebrated her for 40 years and everyone was there to hold her up and to celebrate. And that's the type of stuff that we need. I know I could pick the phone up and call either of you, like what is Damaris, we spoke a few days ago about trying to figure out, I was trying to figure out the FBI code for out of state employee, and couldn't. When I tell you she was there, I lie to you not, like 6 hours. And I'm like, so I figured it out. Even our state, our reps couldn't help us, but I called.
Afterwards, because we talked about that.
So the mayor said, well, we should put together a resource list. Absolutely. Right. This isn't something that we're trying to hoard. No, it's just my information. Guys, I Googled it. Hey, just let me tell you that I Googled it and it came up and I was like, oh, here's the code. But that's something, though, that a lot of people may not have access to, that the list can be free of resources that we can offer to fellow providers. And I'm helping now a smaller program who's trying to apply for pre-K counts. And, it's things that I know that I'm helping her with, but it was some things that I wasn't familiar with, and reached out to another provider who has it and literally responded like a long message, like, listen, here's all the information and here's my telephone number. Thank you. I will never forget that. Please reach out to me when you need help, because that's really walking the talk, right? We're saying
and watch to see other. When you watch to see other, that's what it is.
Here's the other reality of this. we each have capacity, right? In terms of programs, in terms of, abilities. So why do I need to be trying to block you or stop you when you can't go beyond your capacity? But together we can serve more. Together we can be more impactful. Together the impact will be greater because we're sharing resources.
Right.
And I always say people are going to choose you because of your difference, not because of your likeness.
Absolutely, especially if everyone's getting subsidy, for example, right? It's like they don't care where they go. It's not necessarily about paying for it because either we have free programs or it's subsidized. It is about who you are. It is about this family connecting with the mission of the program or just the culture of the program, not necessarily how much it costs. So I think we're way beyond that. I'm cheaper, they're cheaper, go down the street. It's way beyond that, which is why we don't have to be competitors, because it's enough funding, or we have enough programming that I can provide services to this family who seems to have a better fit, a better connection with us. But this one, I might not be able to service you, but I know someone else who can. And I think this ties into Ms. Cologne's question. Why do you think providers aren't reaching out and trying to find the resources? And I would just start out by saying, I don't know if everyone has the capability or know where to find the resources, whether it's overwhelming, because sometimes it's a lot of information out there and it's like, well, where do I go? But even deciphering what the information is and what it says, what it means, where does it apply?
And some of it as well, for some of the folks of Latinx providers, a lot of the information is a lot, right? And it's not available in Spanish. Most of it not available in Spanish. So I have, and along with Rosanna, that she's on the call, have spent hours with a lot of volunteer hours in translating a lot of this information so folks can get it for free, because that's just who we are. We want to community because there's systems that are not really reaching everyone equitably, right? So those resources are they're there. They're absolutely there. But like Aaliyah said, took 6 hours to find one FBI code for different thing. Some family providers don't have 6 hours. They don't have that. Right.
Well, it's gonna make them quit. It's gonna make them quit. It's gonna make them say, "Forget this. I'm done."
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe that Rosanna touched on that, which is lack of access is due to technology needs, language barriers, and networking loss. Yeah. And I don't want to take away. At first, when I saw the question too, I wasn't sure if we also was a trust factor when we're talking about reaching out.
It is.
Yeah, it's a trust factor. And I know for, again, some of the providers who have been in this for a longer, for like 30 years or so, they're not really connecting with all of the organizations who offer these resources and information. Even if it is technical assistance or training, they're like, I'll get a call like, can you come help me and look through, because they also don't trust you in their financials. They don't trust you in their programs. It's a lack of trust, which is
embarrassment. Embarrassment.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Some of them, I just finished saying that a few minutes ago, that a lot of providers are not paying themselves. And, sharing that information is, something that is not comfortable, right? I'm struggling. Sharing the fact that I'm struggling, I don't understand this, that I'm supposed to be this business person, I'm supposed to be doing, childcare business, and I don't understand how to do, a profit and loss or budget my balance sheets or stuff like that. And those things are not available. Those things are not available holistically to each program, so when you go to these financial and budget classes and everything that is available, it's really not holistic, meeting the needs of each individual provider, and let's be real. Some people just have personal biases, right? So if you go in there with a degree in business, MBA, or you go in there with an accountant, or you're meeting with a CPA, they're looking at these things like, this is a hot mess. This is a hot mess. And with that stink face, right? And they look at people down on people, and people don't want to be looked at that way. They need help. Right? I didn't call you over here to shame me.
Right.
I called you over here to help me. So that is the reason. That's another reason why folks, just don't reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things, and as I listen to you, so Damaris, you have not met this side of me yet, but Aaliyah, my head, my it was turning. So there's another conversation that we'll have online about some stuff we about to do.
Okay. I'm with it.
I know how that goes. Well, Damaris and we had talked to, and I was like, surely, part 2 or whatever, because and we're so open in regards to how the platform can go. Again, from our viewers now and those who will view later, we again would love to hear from you in regards to what you need, and share this out also, because it could also be sent to providers. We actually have the audio. We can send the audio and the video, so that even if we have family providers who can't get to watch this, because I was speaking to one, and I honestly couldn't connect but so much with her because I'm not a family provider. But it was like, I'm just tired. Like, I'm literally tired. So after, I wouldn't expect a number of family providers to even be able to connect on this call at 7 p.m. because they've been by themselves all day working. So how can they get access to even information that's being presented after hours, right? We might even think that we're helping by saying, when I say we, I'm talking about all organizations where the training is at 7. I've been working since 6 to 6 by myself, and I don't have it at 7. So again, that's another one of those equitable conversations in regards to how are we really connecting and finding out what the needs are and truly meeting the needs where they are. And just providing it, just saying, no, it's go check on PA Keys or whatever your state's professional development system isn't enough. It
really isn't enough. So what I hear that we need to do, because we're going to take responsibility for this, since we, putting it out,
open the door,
because we are the impact. I'm just saying, we are the impact. So right. So these are some of the things that I heard. Number one, if we could, and this is so futuristic, but I think that we can do it because we're brilliant, and that's just how we operate. But a call center. After our call center for providers, and it doesn't even have to be open for a long period of time, but a call center that they can at least call into from, I don't know, maybe 7 to 9, just to get questions answered.
Mm-hmm. That would be great.
Right.
That would be great.
And then to be able to have it in Spanish, in Cambodian, and as many as languages as we can have it in, because that is a real resource.
Yeah, absolutely. And even asking what
you want to talk about a hub.
Yeah,
that's a hub.
Yeah, that's a hub,
that's
right?
A hub.
And so then the other part of it is, for those that are listening and those that will share this out, you guys being able to inbox us or email us questions, so then when we come on here, we can be prepared to just give out those answers, and then create a resource, an ebook, so that you can go and actually say, oh yeah, they were talking about this, and this is where I can find that at. So we can do a whole lot of things, but we don't know what you need. So you're going to have to feed us that information so that we can actually be the resource and give you what you need, and not us assuming what you need. So, your questions are important. The three of us clearly are on social media, but even if you can't reach us on social media, Aaliyah, just being able to provide our email addresses, and phone numbers. And eventually what we'll do is create a number, maybe it's a 1-800 number or something, for a call center. So it'll start small in its infancy, but this is about to get funded.
Oh, I love Crystal's idea.
That's why I had to bring it up. I was like,
I love that idea. Job opportunities. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that would be one-stop shop.
This is an impact and the ripple effect of doing the right work.
I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Crystal. Oh, wait. Anyway.
Yeah, I love that idea, of having that one call center,
Yeah.
788, especially building leaders. Absolutely. A lot of people are like, how do you get Pequot certified? How do you complete this module? I don't even understand it. Is it in Spanish? I'm like, no, I don't even understand. They changed the system again. So
Again.
again, so with these things, like, this would be really great opportunity for folks to call in and be like, look, can I make an appointment? Can I make an appointment from this time to this time so we can talk about this? Like, how do I get an accountant?
Yes.
Right? And we're not endorsing anyone, because that's not the point. The point is to find a list of people that want to work with providers to really help build providers and help build leaders.
Excellent.
Right?
Mhm.
We got to raise leaders, and that's what it is. So whether if it's advocacy and financial, family, component, how to apply for an RFQ.
Yeah.
Many providers miss out on the opportunities to grant funding, and just because they didn't understand how to complete that, there's no support systems for them to do that. So I feel as though I know that this holistic approach would be something that definitely can be great, and we should get funded for it.
Oh no, we
Let's
want to
go.
get funded for this, because
We want to get funded for it.
because when you talk about diversity and inclusion and equity, what's missing is a call center for childcare providers, for business owners, and making sure that everybody is represented. So
Everyone.
it's not black and white, it's green. We need to make sure that all our sisters and brothers from every culture that is operating, within Pennsylvania, until we are able to expand, because we're going to expand, but we'll start right here, local, but reaching out so that everybody is represented. And with doing so, the people that join can also provide translation, so we don't have to go outside of the network to provide translation.
It needs to be a unified network. It should look like a network of providers.
Yes.
Right, working with the needs and meeting the needs of providers. Right. And that's exactly how it should work. Giving opportunities for those providers for them to become leaders.
Yeah,
I know we have space. I know myself and Damaris, you as well. Like, we have spaces also to some point when we need to have an actual resource location, even if the call center is for calls, but at some point when it gets to we build the trust, which is huge. We know building trust with families, that's why they come to our programs and they stay. But when we build this trust with the providers as they're calling in and we're finding out what they need, we can also we can also offer actual resources and like an in-person hub as well, where they can stop in and we have different resources, community organization, whatever it is that they need, they can literally come get what they need and take it. Right.
Come and get it. Come and get it. Right. Come and get it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can't make it, let's meet in Zoom. If you can't, you know what? I'll drive to your house. So, those are things that we have done, right? I'll drop it up to your house because I get it. You can't come out at 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock if you whatever time you close. People are tired. It's tired. So that's the way we're going to be able to build communities. Trust builds capacity. Capacity builds access. Access builds support. And at the end of the day, Rosanna, and that also builds money.
Well, that's right.
Financial security.
Now, and that's the power, right? That's the power.
Yes. Now, I don't want to say too much because this people are watching and listening, but me being who I am, what's going to happen? We're going to take it from the infancy of what it is, and then we're going to be our own bank.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
So you say, Rosanna, okay, there we go.
Yeah. Because you change the game when you can be your own bank.
That money is the power, right? And a lot of times that's the issue that we have a lack of power. So when we're always asking and we're trying to advocate and we're not getting what we need, is because we don't have power, which is why the money doesn't move. It doesn't.
Here's I mean, this is going to be a whole new podcast, but I don't take loans.
Yeah.
I'm my own bank.
Listen, the lender, not the borrower.
Mm-mm. I don't do loans. I don't do none of that stuff. Nah, we're not gonna. Why would I pay you interest when I could pay myself interest?
Right.
I believe that's a whole other.
Yeah. So that'll be.
But that's access to research
no.
I was able to receive.
No, I got you. What I was saying was, though, I'm sure there are so many providers that need to that mindset and the skill to learn how to do that, because I remember a time where I don't know how many of you may have gotten these, like this loan a long time ago. It was like loan sharkish, the amount of money you had to pay back. Because in this industry, it's not really easy to get a line of credit or, to like get a good sized loan. And I remember getting it years ago. It took so long to pay off, but it was so much interest. So I was only saying that people would need to learn how, right, even if they are taking out loans, how to do it responsibly.
You're absolutely right.
To the point where they can get financially free to where as though they don't have to. Yes,
exactly.
Baby steps. We're going to get there, though.
Yeah.
Because we the impact. Real people, real conversations. This is how we do it. Real resources. Yes. All right. So we're going to be respectful of time, and we're going to put a pin in it right there. But if you guys would be so gracious to share, because that will allow us to continue to provide you with this great feedback. And also the social media police, this is the only way they know that we are talking about stuff that is impactful, because you are sharing it and giving us love. So we want you to also send us your questions and your feedback so that we can consistently provide you with content that is impactful for what you do. So this has been our 11th episode. Yay.
Thank you for inviting me, guys. I love this.
Of course. We loved it. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom. Of course, you as well, Dr. Obiama Martin. Every time we come on, we just had, these are the conversations that, we love. And at some point we started talking about something else too that okay. I'm not even.
We can just keep talking, because that's what we do. We talk offline all the time.
Listen, thank you, Jamie. Jamie said great discussion. Thank you.
So Damaris will be coming back. She'll be coming back for more real conversations.
So for all of our viewers, thank you so much for joining us on this evening, right? When we came on, Dr. Obiama, I was like, you see it's not the daytime, early in the day, it's the evening. So
the evening works. So clearly the evening works. So you guys win, because you gave us feedback and showed up and was engaged, and we like that.
We love it. So thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, we will see you on the third Thursday, 7 p.m. I'm gonna have to double check, because we have not looked at calendars and stuff. Put a pin in there, and I'm gonna let you guys know the next day and the time, okay? But thank you so much for watching. Again, let us see your comments and your input. We appreciate you. Have a good night.
Okay.